I used to spend hours in the field just to come home with nothing. But then I changed a few things, and now my photos look like this, and this. In this video, I'll show you exactly how you can find more wildlife so you can come home with better images. Welcome back, my friends. I hope you're doing great, and do stick around till the end because I have a cool little gadget that'll help you both spot more wildlife and get closer to them. Now, I know how frustrating it can be when you try to find wildlife only to find out that it's been hiding right under your nose and you only see them when they run away. Most photographers, me included, probably only spot like 20% of the wildlife that's in your local area, or maybe even less, because it moves away silently before you even get close enough to spot them. They have extraordinary senses, and this makes it so much more challenging for us to get close enough to take a great photo. Now, a very common approach before we get into the mindset of what it really takes to get closer to animals is that we just capture shots from wherever we are and wherever we meet wildlife. If you spot something, we take a shot. We need to change that. But why isn't that approach good enough? Well, it relies on luck. Do you have that much time to spend in nature hoping to get lucky? I don't. So I've spent a really long time trying to get both closer to the animals and to spot more wildlife in general. Let's take a look at some of the free approaches that we can implement from starting today. All animals are drawn to food. So if you find a place that has plenty of food, you'll also find plenty of animals. It's really, in a way, that simple. Now, this is often referred to as wildlife hotspots. So you just need to find out where they are. So maybe you can ask if you have some friends that are interested in wildlife, ask them where they usually go to spot animals. Maybe you have a local nature protection group, or maybe you know some spots already. And even if it's an hour or two away, it might be worthwhile visiting this spot more often. Instead, if you go out and you just sit and hope for a deer or an eagle to come by, then you'll come home with nothing. But if you spend the time, go to that hotspot, you're certain that something interesting will appear there. Expand your reach and go to these different hotspots. You'll have much more success than just taking a walk in the local forest. But what if you want to stay really local, like within your local forest? The first thing to know is that animals don't just stray around at random. They have their routines, they have their habits. And when you know that, it's time to get a little bit structured about your approach so you can better anticipate where they'll come, at what time. Of course, it's not so you can just set a clock and say, okay, in 2 minutes this deer will come by. But they have their morning routines and a few options that they can follow. And if you know what these options are, then just sit and wait at one of these places. Now, what I do is that I often use a simple map. This could be a physical map or a Google map with all your sightings. Now, once you start to plot in all your whatever you see, whether it's creep at this part of the lake or it's fallow deers in this part of the forest, once you've done that for a little while, you'll start to see a little pattern in where you see most animals. And this is a great starting point and looking further into how the animals move. So once you've found a spot with a lot of activity, it's time to sit there for a while. Spend a morning session there. Which animal comes? What's the wind direction? What time of year is it? Note all these down in a little notebook. And one other thing about this sit spots that you have found. Try to go a different route each time you go there, because you might find new tracks, a new path that the animals are taking. Now, this also helps you find more optimal positions for capturing a great shot when you know all the different paths that the animals can take and how the light is at these spots. Now, there's these two terms, I can't remember where I picked it up. There's the sphere of perception, that's how far you can see, and then there's your sphere of disturbance. So make that as small as possible. Now, if you're still struggling with finding animals, or if you're the type of person who, instead of just sitting still, would rather like take a little more stealth and like sneaking up on animals, be careful not to disturb them. But if you're that type of person, then this little thing might help you. I found it really, really useful since I got it. So this is a thermal monocular. So you just turn it on and you get a heat map of everything that's going on. So you can easily spot deers, and I think the range of this one is like up to 500 meters. This is the smallest version. Now, I actually spotted my first owl in this neighborhood or in this local area with this one, but I mostly use it for deers. So once you try to get close to deers, you often don't see them before you actually scare them away because they're so well hidden. And in this way, you get a little more equal opportunity to spot them using this. So you can take your precautions, maybe take a different route, get in front of them, and just sit there and wait. Some roe deers are on their own, but fallow deers, especially in this local area, they're like in larger groups, and this means that you might spot a few ahead, but then it's the one to the sides that you probably don't know, and these are the one that sound the alarm to the rest of them. But if you know the scene in front of you, then you got a better chance of not scaring animals away. Now, these are all the strategies that you can actually do without help from anyone. But I would suggest that you also learn from other people's observations. I use sometimes iNaturalist or eBird to see what's been spotted and where is it, and use that as a starting point for all the other things that I've already covered. So just go into the app and see what has been spotted where, or do a search of a particular animal you're interested in. It's such an easy help, and you lean into other people's experiences, which is really valuable. Anyway, just be aware that if the observation is more than a few years old, you'll likely not be able to use it for anything. If you got some fresh observations, then that's the best sign you can get. So these are all methods that I've used for getting closer to wildlife. But let me hear in the comment, which method do you use for spotting more wildlife in your local area, and share it with the rest of us. It could be really helpful for all of us. Anyway, that's all I have for you today, so see you in the next video. Take care.